podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
No brakes, no brakes, no fear, no fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
This week on No Brakes, No Fear, it's a Sports Insure Premiership Champions extravaganza.
And the Tigers have done it! They are the champions in 2023. Emotional times for them. They got beaten last year by Bellevue. What a turnaround of events here tonight.
It went the full distance, but the Sheffield Tigers have finally nailed their first ever top flight championship. Joining us on the podcast in a few minutes, we'll hear from not just co-promoter Damien Bates, but two of the boys that did the business on the track. We've got Chris Holder and Josh Pickering with us to look back on a massive evening at Owlerton. But there's more silverware yet to be decided in the Cab Direct Championship, and it's the Glasgow Tigers who are set to face the Poole Pirates in the grand final there. The Pirates looking for 3 titles on the bounce. The Glasgow Tigers looking to finally get one over the Poole Pirates. We've got both team managers, Cami Brown and Neil Middleditch.
Every final, every trophy is something that the Pirates, and the management riders, we all go in to win. There's no prizes for second place.
Usually, in years gone by, Glasgow have always been the favourites, and it's strange to be the underdogs, and that sits well with me.
And British Speedway gets ready to bid farewell to the Peterborough Showground after over 50 years in the business. It's set to close its doors on Saturday with a farewell meeting. We speak to Dale Allitt.
Let's just have one more night so people can actually say goodbye to the Speedway there, and I thought that was important for, so many people associated with the club.
All this to come on British Speedway's official podcast.
No brakes, no fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Welcome along, and a big episode slightly later in the week than we normally do, but for good reason, as the Sheffield Tigers have been crowned Sports Insure Premiership Champions after an incredible second leg turnaround against the Ipswich Witches at Owlerton. The Tigers trailed by 18 points after the first leg of the grand final, and therefore needed to break the record for the largest margin ever overturned in the return fixture, which they remarkably did with a 56-34 win. It went all the way to Heat 15, with the Witches needing a 5-1 to take it to a superheat.
Here we go. Tapes are up into the first corner. Holder, they're hustling it with Emil Saifudanov out in front though. It's Doyle. Here comes Saifudanov. We got a superheat. No. Oh, Doyle's been swallowed up by Chris Holder. Holder in the middle of the track. Here comes Robert Lambert as well. Out in front. Is Emil Saifudanov. Doyle has gone to the back now. That's disappointment for him. Saifudanov doing the business, but right now, with a 3-all on the cards, the Tigers are going to do it.
Oh, brilliant first lap there from Lambert and Holder to push Doyle to the back. It looked like Ipswich were on a 5-1, and crazy first lap from the Tigers there to push themselves into second and third.
Saifudanov is comfortable out in front. All they've got to do now is just keep going, the Sheffield Tigers. This result will see them win the 2023 Sports Insure Premiership. Saifudanov started slowly tonight with 2 third places. He's responded brilliantly, but he's now out in front, and the Tigers have done it! They are the champions in 2023. Emotional times for them. They got beaten last year by Bellevue. What a turnaround of events here tonight. And the Tigers have they've refused to lie down. Holder has played his part. You've got to feel for the Witches. They must have had a lot of confidence coming here. But a very special moment for the Sheffield Tigers and that man Simon Stead.
Just a massive shout out for the lads, but not only the lads that have done it tonight, but the lads that have stepped in this season and done a job for us as well. So delighted for the fans.
It's raining. It's rained a lot tonight. The rain has played its part in this grand final, as it did in the semi-final. But the credit to your guys, it just didn't faze them.
Not one bit. Straight after the meeting on Monday, we were. I can't concentrate. We were straight on the group chat. We absolutely believed that we could do a job tonight.
Well, you believed, and it showed. That conviction showed. It really is raining. It is a brilliant display by the Tigers, and wow, you must be so proud because to come 18 points down and to win it by 4.
Just unbelievable, Abby. It's just. I can't really put into words how much it means being my hometown club. It's been a long time coming, but I'm so proud of everybody.
It certainly has been a long time coming for Sheffield, but also, when was the last time that we had a team manager who won the top flight of British Speedway, but also won it as a rider as well, which is exactly what Simon Stead has achieved. And you've got to go back a fair way, and I thank Peter Oakes for doing the research here, and it's the research from the top of his head. He says, going back, he thinks Dent Oliver might have done it. Tommy Price at Wembley as a rider and West Ham as a manager in 1965. Maybe Norman Parker as a rider with Wimbledon and team manager at Swindon in 1967. Mick Bell actually won titles as a rider and team manager for both Reading and Coventry. But certainly nobody has done it in the modern era. So huge congratulations to Simon Stead there, making history, not only overturning an 18-point deficit, but for himself being the first rider and team manager to win the top level title, being, of course, the same person, but at different levels. So, what a night for the Sheffield Tigers. We joined them the day after the night before, though, now, and probably still recovering in some quarters as well. But I'm pleased to say that joining us on No Breaks, No Fear, we have victorious, title-winning Sheffield Tigers, Chris Holder and Josh Pickering, along with co-promoter Damien Bates as well. We're going to chat to each of you, of course. We'll start with you, Josh Pickering, though, because you started the season at Kings Lynn Stars, but actually you only rode for them a few times. You've ridden the majority of the season in Sheffield colours, 20 meetings, I think it is, since coming back from your injury. And what a switch this has all turned out to be as the hand of fate has dealt you.
Yeah, it was me and my mechanic Ryan were actually having this conversation yesterday. It was actually this morning while washing the bike. It was just, fate's a funny thing, and I always believe everything happens for a reason. And I come here in 2021, I think, I started my premiership with Sheffield, and then it didn't work out, and I would have liked to be back there, for the following year. But I ended up at Kings Lynn. But then when I was injured in early April, and they had to sort of make some team moves, and I actually didn't know what was going on with my shoulder. I didn't know how long I was going to be out for. But thankfully that just the right door opened at the right time, and I feel like I'm back where I belong, and we done a job. And I'm just very grateful, but also very happy and proud that we could have done what we done last night.
Chris Holder, to you now. Clearly, you came in fairly late doors, but ironically, at the same time as your brother left the side. So the Holder name has been pretty much constant with the Sheffield Tigers throughout the course of this season and the previous one as well. It was you, though, that it fell to seal the deal. Sheffield almost there, but you know that Ipswich with a 5-1 could take it to a superheat, which would definitely have been a bit of a nervy experience. But how do you keep you cool, and what has winning a world title and winning previous league titles with the Poole Pirates, for example, what have they taught you in order to keep cool in the highest pressure of situations like Heat 15 was?
Yeah, well, first of all, I had massive boots to fill coming in for Jackie. Like, he's a absolute demon around there, and he rides lines that I probably did I don't know, 5-10 years ago. But for the last one, I just obviously told myself, I've raced for a world championship, probably the hardest guy in Speedway at the time, Nicky. So I was like, this is nothing, you know what I mean? But there's a bit of pressure on, of course. I had a bad night on obviously Tuesday at Ipswich, and I wanted to sort of redeem myself, and I thought, obviously let the boys down a little bit there. So I was ready to, if we were going wide, you know what I mean? I wanted to give the boys something to cheer about, and not just me, Rob's obviously in that race too, and we knew we just had to, don't get a 5-1. Yeah, the super would have been great to watch, but I wouldn't have been too stoked doing another one. But it worked out good, mate. It worked out excellent, and we got the job done, like Josh said, and how good, eh? 18 points down and turn that around. That's pretty good.
It is. It's historic. Nobody's ever done it before. You've broken a record there, and probably going to take some beating because it's stood forever, really, this size of comeback at the top level in the playoffs, and certainly in modern times. And I think as well, we've got to consider that the quality of the oppositions in some of those heats, like Heat 13, Heat 15, with yourself, Robert Lambert, Emil Saifutinov and Jason Doyle, you're talking Grand Prix level lineups there, world-class stuff.
Definitely, mate. Yeah, I think the biggest comeback we ever tried at Poole was like 8 points, and we thought we had that in the bag, and we couldn't do that. So 18 was like, shit, like this is going to be a tough one. But obviously only finished off the season at Sheffield, but the boys are quite dominant around there. Not like everybody, you know what I mean? Like not just the top couple of guys. The whole team is solid around there. So we knew we had a fighting chance, and yeah, the last race, yeah, tough field, all the rest of it. But I think me and Rob are probably better team guys than maybe Doyley and Emil. Like they're obviously great riders, go super hard, but we knew whatever happens, we cannot be, we can't get a 5-1. So we're not looking for the win. Just get out that start, get in a good position, and if we're not, do everything you can to get each other where we need to be. It's not about the winner. I don't think I've seen Emma look back once. So that's how we were operating. We knew what we had to do, and let's just do that and see what happens. And yeah, to come round, I think after the couple of laps, and I had a quick look and seen Rob right there, I was like, I couldn't stop smiling. I was like, oh my God, we've done it. It's a good feeling, as Joshy knows, man. It's unreal. And like he said, like we ain't stopped smiling since that checkered flag.
And what about the celebrations, Pico? After the meeting, was it a long night, or were you tucked up in bed nice and early? What happened after the TV cameras had stopped rolling and you'd headed off?
Oh, we just went up top into the bar and caught up with a few of the fans and got ourselves a bit of a table and had a bit of a debrief and just talk with the boys about what we sort of achieved there. It's it's a massive thing, and honestly, mate, like I come home, and when I got home I think it was about 12:30 or something like that, I put the meeting on and I watched it again. Just I couldn't switch off, and I just wanted to live that moment again. And it was just special, mate. Like, considering, I know they're saying like it's a makeshift team or whatever, but Speedway in this country and with how it's set up, we only sign 7 riders. There's no squad system. We can't have 20 riders per team. It's just there's been people doing guest bookings all year in every match of every match. So it's not like it's a massive like, oh, I can't believe they've just brought these people in to do it. Like, it's a bit harder in my opinion because you don't have that steadiness where you sort of know what your riders have been putting out week in, week out. You know what they can sort of do, and not only that, when it started pissing down rain and our track then just disappeared from what we would normally go to a setup. So in my opinion, it made it easier for the Ipswich team, and they could not manage to rise to the level that we put ourselves on. So I feel as if we had the track normal how we normally would, we would have done it by even more. So like, hats off to us all, and awesome.
Damien Bates, to you then as a co-promoter, and we spoke to you last week, and obviously we're looking forward to this being a possibility. But for you now, I'm wondering if it's a bit of a twin-edged sword. Obviously, you've got the momentum of publicity now that you've won the title, and you go into next season as champions. So that's got to be, great news and something that you can really trade off. But then on the flip side, we know that in Speedway, sometimes being a successful side makes you pay, and you have to make some team changes. You can't get the same 7 guys back in the side once again. You're the BSBL vice chairman, so I'm just wondering how you're going to handle that situation going forward potentially now.
Change some rules.
Well, listen,
50-point limit.
It's going to make it hard because everybody now, every fan, just want me to sign riders whoever I talk to. I was talking to Chris at Bar last night, so we come to sign him next year. We just need to enjoy what we've done at the moment. We all know what we do. Not saying we know what we're doing, but we have chats, all different meetings, different weeks. We're all at the same page. But we're not really thinking about next year. Yeah, I'd love to keep. I can't keep all riders because everybody says I must have about 30. But everybody's quick to jump up and down on Kyle Allis the only remaining member. Yeah, he is, but it wasn't my fault 2 riders quit on me. It wasn't my fault Toby broke his leg. It's not my fault Wolfie broke his hand. It's not my fault Jack broke his wrist. Do you know what I mean? I would have listen, Rob Lambert, Chris Harris, Rich Ross did a great job, Giant, whoever else had him. But the team we put in after we lost Jack, which were a massive blow, we all know how Jack around Sheffield is a different level.
He's irreplaceable,
absolutely different level, Jack. And we thought, we've got Wolfie in. Oh, he coming in. That's Wolf. Wolfie's an awesome rider as also. But we got a team which thought, after a couple of riders quit on us, I'm not going to set names, but I don't think you need to be a genius to work it out. We got a team that we thought was stable, and we lost Wolfie, we lost Toby, so we had to do what we had to do. And Chris, Pico, they come in later on, but like Josh has been there most of the season, but their riders want and the battle for us, and so did it gets. So I'm not that arsed what people criticise. Say, I've read something about Kyle Howarth must be glad that he's only surviving rider. Not one. Dan Gilt's another. Brock his wrist. It's that's not. Otherwise, team changes wouldn't have really been done. So it is what it is.
If we finished bottom, it would have been poor Sheffield. They've finished bottom because they've had all these injuries. But because we finished top, it's like they have something else to whinge about. Who cares? We won.
You betcha.
Exactly. Who cares? Who cares? Listen.
Right here, Joshy.
It was difficult on Tuesday.
Hey?
Right here, mate.
Hey, boy.
It was difficult on Tuesday at Ipswich. We all know that. Chris has said that. If he felt like let everybody down, but if anybody can go from zero to hero, that was Chris last night. Awesome job. Awesome. And the whole team, honestly, just mega. Absolutely mega. And listen, it was difficult Tuesday. Really difficult. Obviously, it went through to different aspects of it, what went on it week, which, caused me a few issues. But we went there. We lost by 18, but we come back and won by 20, wasn't it?
22, I think.
22, let's get right to 22. So, it is what it is. It's done with. We've won league. And it's fair play to Ipswich. They get it a good battle, both legs. And Ipswich have been a good team this year. They're better in Cup, which, but if I had a choice, I'd win league over the Cup any day of the week. So, all good.
And Chris, for you, you've ridden 8 meetings for Sheffield now. For people are saying he's only come in for the playoffs. That's not true at all. You've ridden 8 meetings. For your home meetings, you've never failed to score a point. You've never come last in any ride around Owlerton, which I thought was pretty.
I did the other night, didn't I? Oh. When Pico did the big one and rounded up JD. I ran
was that last? Was that? Oh, right. Is that the first one? But other than that,
think so.
Good on you.
Don't be giving him stats like that. That's when negotiations get harder on my arm.
Strongest 3 and 4
mate,
in the league, honest, I think. Isn't that right, CH?
What's that, mate?
Strongest 3 and 4 in the league, I think.
Oh, the engine room, mate, they call it.
Oh, yeah.
No, to be honest, mate, it was even when obviously Jack was injured and obviously Sheffield were making changes and whatnot. Steady asked me, and I was not too sure what I was going to do because I don't know, Speedway fans and whatnot have got pretty short memory. I had a broken neck in 2 places like 5 months ago, and that's not like an easy fix. Not just the bones and whatnot, but in your confidence, man. I could have not been riding ever again. So I was a bit unsure. Then they signed Wolfie, and I was like, okay, that's like not dodged a bullet, but right, I don't have to worry about anything. And then obviously there was a few more things went down with injuries and whatnot. And then when Steady was talking to me, I wanted to, and then I spoke to my partner and was like, do I just sit the rest of the year out and get fit and healthy and like where I'm good to go, or do I keep going? And honestly, the best decision I did was to jump in, and I thought just ride within the limits and just hang in there and just sort of get through the rest of the year. And not that I'm making it as an excuse, but when Ipswich was how it was the other night, like I'm not prepared to be on the ground. Like I can't afford to be on the ground. So I was doing what I could, and it was not good enough. And I know that, and I was with it all and how everything went down. But going on Thursday, I knew like the track's been mint there every time I've been there, and like the stats show, the team there, we're pretty unbeatable. So we had every chance to get the job done. And I think before we even drove out of the car park, the group chat was going off, and it put like a bit of a fire in your belly, like, right, okay, that's done. They're celebrating, which they were. There's no two ways about it. They thought they had it done. Bellevue couldn't do them after 18 points. I don't think Sheffield's the hardest track to ride. It's fair. It's rain or no rain. There was no problems with the track whatsoever, and the better team won.
And these tracks in British Speedway, of course, you've not ridden them for quite a while because you've not been riding over here, and you were due to come back to Peterborough, as people will know, at the start of the season, and that's obviously a separate story for another day, maybe. But it were, I don't know, the universe aligns in a way, and you landed up winning the title, literally, with Sheffield in Heat 15 of the last match of the season.
I know, mate, it is crazy. Like, I was excited to be back. Obviously, when people like, oh, why don't you race in England? Like, for years we couldn't, because we could only do, one other league if you're in, say, the extra league in Poland. So it just made more sense and was a lot easier to do Sweden at the time. And then even at the same time as that, I had no visa to live in England. I had no home base. Obviously, I've got a family, and it's not that easy to organise a lot of things. We don't have race teams that look after everything, and we just rock up. It's all done. You're the crew chief, boss, everything. So I'd never wanted to come and like be half-assing it. So obviously, I'm settled now, and it sort of come at a good time, but a bad time, because obviously I was coming back from a pretty serious injury, and I was like, I don't know. But yeah, just went, stuff it. Let's have a crack and just I'll see what I can do, kind of thing. And it's been great fun, mate. Like the vibe in the UK is totally different, as Josh will know, to racing abroad. It's a lot more serious. There's not so much joking around and all that kind of thing. It's pretty heavy duty out there, but it's been fun. It's been great. I ain't got a bad word to say about it, mate. It's been excellent. I really enjoyed it.
And do you think that Speedway in this country's changed slightly? Because, Woofy said that it seems more professional now. As you said, they find it a little bit more chilled out. There's not as much, hassling and pressure that goes on maybe in Poland, where you've got to win every heat. Every heat's a world final, and they take it very, very seriously. Whereas here, we take it seriously, obviously, but it's people are quite chilled about stuff as well, maybe.
For sure. And a massive thing, like, not just because Ipswich was tough the other night, but the tracks have been a lot better. And Wolfie could vouch for that. I've been to Sheffield, obviously, when Jack was riding, and I'd be watching thinking, like, that looks so good, you know what I mean? And everything I've seen on TV, like Wolves, yeah, it's slick or whatever, but it's consistent. There's good, you can have good races. You just want a good track to perform on. And when it's not enjoyable, like obviously the other night, it's like, this is not what I signed up for. But when it's good, like we were at Ipswich a couple of weeks before, and the track was fine. It was good. Had no issues, and I was like, oh, I'm looking forward to going back and having another crack. And then, yeah, it was a lot different story the other night. But I think with Phil Morris in charge, like sort of not running the show, but like making it a bit more professional and getting it like running how it should be run. It's looking good for it. And like Leicester, I went and watched Leicester a couple of times. Like, that track used to be a nightmare for anybody, and it looks really good. And that's a huge thing. We want to race in control. We don't want to be life on the line every time you throw your leg over the bike. So no, it's good.
Yeah, and for you, Josh, just on a sort of general note, you've announced that you leaving Edinburgh. Of course, you've been there for a long, long time now, but that's for you now looking ahead to next year to sort of take your riding up a notch now, and you're wanting to do other leagues maybe in Europe and crack on to a different level for you personally now.
Yeah, for sure. I've when you come over to the UK, when I'm from Australia and starting me professional career, it's no different to doing an apprenticeship, in my opinion, to any type job. Edinburgh being a track that definitely don't suit my style of riding, quite tight, technical. The grip side of things didn't really worry me, but being able to turn a bike and things like that. So I felt like I needed to grow as a rider. It was the right decision for me to go there and learn these skills that I have now. But I found it very difficult to leave there after many years. And then I was in a position last year where I was sort of umming and ahhing whether to knock it on the head this year. But then, one thing or another changed. And then Sam sort of left the team as well. And of course, the club does actually mean so much to me. I didn't want to leave them without, a dominant type rider. So another thing as well, I was in the middle of like trying to get our first home over here. So doing that side of things, it helped well riding for Edinburgh. But right now in this moment, I feel I've sort of got everything lined up that I've ever wanted to try and get lined up in a way. Now it's time for me to continue to put the hard work in over the winter and then, hopefully get the opportunities I feel that, I do deserve for one, and two, that I can fulfill. There's some good quality class riders, in Europe doing big things, and they're all mates of mine that I've sort of grown up with or overseen from when I was a younger rider. And, I feel I can do what they're doing, and I could be racing the extra league and doing things like that. And that's what I want to do. I want to continue to keep trying to progress and keep testing myself and new challenges and things like that. And I wouldn't want any more than that.
And for you, boys, you're involved in the Aussie Championships. They're coming up sort of New Year sort of time, I think, isn't it, over the winter? And you've got those on the agenda too?
Yeah, for sure. It's as Chris knows as well, it's not an easy exercise, but it's what you sort of got to do. And my reasoning to doing it as well, like previous years, has been more like, okay, I need to try and ride against Australia's best. And then it was, okay, I need to try and ride against the best that's racing over in the UK. And then it's like, okay, well, now it's like I'm going to try and go for a top 8. Then it's gone to a top 6. And now it's like every year I've done the Australian title, my goals changed. And now I feel as if I could be going for a podium position. And then in doing that would then give me the opportunity to be able to do like the Grand Prix qualifying championship, which is exactly what I want to be doing now. And in doing that also, majority of the riders in the UK, they don't have the opportunity to get on the bike over the winter, and they spend 5.5 months not being able to do that. So if we ever want to try something, learn something else, bit more practice, bit more bike time, etc., I feel that when I come over, come April time, I feel like I haven't been off the bike type thing, and they'll be feeling a little bit rusty. So that's another reason I do it as well. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and the Aussie Championships, they as you say, it does relate to Grand Prix qualifiers and that kind of scene, doesn't it? So that's why it's important as well as being the champion.
Yeah, well, yeah. The issue is it's a bit sad, really. Most people, like obviously last night we're racing for the league title, and that was what we're racing for. The Australian Championship, it's like shadowed now by the fact that you get a Grand Prix qualifying allocation. In my opinion, I would really love for the Australian title to be its own series, and then that could be its own type thing, and then the Grand Prix qualifier be something else. But in saying that as well, the best of the riders to race in the Grand Prix get to support the Australian title as well. So I feel like it's a double win, but it's equally just as much as an achievement to win the Australian Championship as it would be getting this Grand Prix qualifying allocation.
And Chris as well, just tell us about the work that's involved in it, because I think as Joshy just sort of touched on there, it's full on, isn't it? Like 5 rounds and you're all over Australia, and Australia's not a small place. I mean, you think driving from Sheffield to Poole is quite an adventure, but that's like a short sort of local trip in Australian terms. It's about 5,000 miles or so, isn't it? The whole circuit.
Yeah,
yeah.
Josh, you probably know that you probably got the kilometres written down somewhere, haven't you?
I'll work it out for you right now.
It's mate. It's a big slog. It's not just the Aussie titles. Why aren't you doing it? It's not just that. We've got to send stuff home, which is obviously very expensive, and it's always a hassle with the constant changing of customs and what you can bring and what you got to pay to bring stuff. Then
3,500 miles.
3,500 miles. There you go.
Yeah.
In what? I think it's about 10 days, or maybe 10 days. We do 5 rounds.
Yep.
And we get a day off in between, but that's to drive another 1,000 kilometres and wash bikes and prepare and then eat and sleep somewhere and then, turn up and try and ride. It's not just, we don't have we don't have no mechanics, or we have mates, not mechanics, that drive. We're doing the driving, and, you're staying at mates' houses or wherever you can sort of stop off and get your bike sorted out. So it's, after them 10 days, you're done. You're like, thank God it's over. But But at the same time,
about 3 weeks later, we're heading back over here to do it all again.
100%. And at the same time, it's it's our national championship, and we all love to support it and race in it. And it's tough. It's not easy. Like, you only got to look at it's not easy to win one, that's for sure. And it's only getting tougher, obviously, with all the guys who are obviously coming through and doing very well over here. They're going home with, good equipment, and they're trying to make a name for themselves. And like Josh said, the GP qualification rounds, that's where they all want to be. So it's definitely not easy. And a lot of Aussie guys go very well at home. They might get a little bit homesick or whatever and not perform here, but you put them on their home track with their mum's cooking or something, they're a different beast. So it's always a good laugh. I think all the Aussie guys, there's not many that don't really, we all get on and have a joke around and until their helmets go on and it's game on. But then, it's like a convoy wrapping across, the country. And how many kangaroos did you miss last night? And there's all that kind of thing. It's a big slog, but it's what we do, and we wouldn't trade it for anything else.
Awesome. Yeah, I know. And it is now with streaming and everything as well. It's something that we can watch over here a bit more as well. And it's exciting to see at a time when, as you say, there's no other speedway. Damien, just for you, just to wrap things up, obviously maybe one sort of downside to winning it on the very last fixture of the season is the fact that for fans, they're going to have to wait a long time to see the trophy paraded. Is there a sort of an end of season fans event or anything like that planned?
There's been talk of it. I've been on phone to Steady this morning, but I don't know. Honestly, I'm absolutely knackered today. And
it's been a long night.
I've done nothing today apart from go for my hair cutting. I've got a mountain of work to get done, but honestly, I'm not even.
You've also got to book a trip away, don't you?
This is what I keep hearing as well. So I'll pick that up next week. But just today, over the weekend, I'll spend some family time and just relax a little bit, because it has been a very, very stressful week on my behalf. I know riders have had it tough and after Ipswich, but the amount of stuff I've had to put in and go through, it's been a difficult week, very difficult.
And clearly the focus is on the riders because they've been out there on the track and done the business. But there's a lot of people within the club that make the club tick as well. Obviously, you got Steady and the team management and the co-promoters. But, it's a huge team effort and reward for a lot of work for a lot of people who have put time in over the years at Sheffield.
Everybody who works at track will do a great job to get that running every week. Everybody who works in offices, and there's myself, there's Julius, Peter, the sponsors, Guy at True Plant. There's just people like that. You don't realise if you haven't got all these people, it don't work. And you need all these people. We're just
in the wheel, aren't we?
Yeah, we all come together when it's good, and we're sat at Hill Street, yeah, brilliant. But there's a hell of a lot of people who you don't forget, but. If I'd be sat here half an hour naming them all, but they all know who they are, and I appreciate everybody, all riders, all fans, sponsors, everybody who's helped us to get this. It's very important that they're all there and they all help out.
Yeah, absolutely, a full team effort and champions 2023, the Sheffield Tigers, and I'm sure that's not gonna lose any novelty, is it?
You'll be okay.
All right, cheers, guys. Congratulations, and enjoy the off season, and then you'll be fueled up to do it all over again soon.
Cheers, Ian.
Thank you. Take care. See you.
Thank you very much.
Chris Holder, Josh Pickering, and Damien Bates of the title-winning Sheffield Tigers, winners of the Sports Insure Premiership 2023. There's more league titles yet to be decided, though, and in the Cab Direct Championship, we turn our attention there next because the Glasgow Tigers and the Poole Pirates race home and away over the next week. And we look ahead to that clash as once again those two sides meet for the fourth time in 5 years. And we'll hear from the two team managers, Neil Middleditch and Cami Brown. We'll hear from them next on No Breaks, No Fear.
No Breaks, No Fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
So we know the league champions of the Sports Insure Premiership, but what about British Speedway's second tier, the Cab Direct Championship? And we are about to get underway in the grand final there, which once again is going to be contested between the Poole Pirates and the Glasgow Tigers. The Pirates have won everything on offer in the Cab Direct Championship since they made the move to that level of Speedway in 2021. Will they do it again this year? They've already won the BSN Series, and it's possible that they could win a treble. We'll hear from team manager of the Poole Pirates, Neil Middleditch, who himself is targeting a 30th trophy during his managerial career, which is incredible. So Middlo in a moment. First of all, let's hear from the Glasgow Tigers team manager, Cami Brown. Cami, thanks for joining us. We'll talk about that first leg of the grand final in a moment. First of all, though, looking back to the semi-final, and you had to beat Oxford Cheetahs, and Oxford, of course, got off to a great start, and you were 16 points down at one point, but saved the best for last, and went down to a last heat decider, and Glasgow got the job done, but it was a bit of a tricky night in places, wasn't it, in that semi-final against Oxford?
Yeah, we had a huge task ahead, Ian, at that point, and obviously we quickly put Bomber in as a tactical substitute and clawed a few points back, but we had a massive task. I mean, Oxford are a superb team. But gradually as the meeting went on, we got closer, and we just in the end managed to get over the line, which was a fantastic achievement for the club and the riders, especially when we're down to 6 riders, as Oxford were, and we're missing Klaus Fishing, especially at Ashfield. Klaus is amazing around their place, so we had a gap to fill there, but the team we have this year never give up, and I'm so proud of them. Really, they did a fantastic job.
Now, the Oxford fans will point out that maybe you're a touch lucky with that decision where Ace Piper got excluded, having fallen off, of course, and injured himself and was withdrawn from after Heat 12. But Lee Complin came in and was part of a 5-1 there. But actually, when you look at the scores, the damage really was done Heat 5 to 10, wasn't it? Where at that point, Glasgow had clawed back that deficit to just 4 points. And really, Heat 12, yes, it did sway things a little, but that just cancelled out the tactical win in the previous heat in many regards. But really, you had the momentum by that point.
Yes, we did, and come back to that the race with when Ace came off and was was able to use lead because he was injured. If you actually look at I didn't, obviously at the time it's difficult, it happened so quickly, but when you see the TV replay, there is a bit of contact. It could have gone either way. I totally hold my hands up. It's gone many times. It's gone against Glasgow, so you take it, and you hope you get your fair share of luck. If it was luck, then we have to grab it. So, luck's been something we've been short of when it comes to finals and semi-finals in the last few years. So hopefully we get a bit of luck in the final. We'll surely need it. Poole are a formidable team, and they've won the league the last 2 years on merit. So we have to be at our very best come Sunday and next Wednesday.
Now, the playoffs have been a bit of a nemesis for Glasgow, haven't they? And I'm looking back here, and people will look at the immediate future. But actually going back to 2014, actually, before we get to a playoff situation where really Glasgow have not been in the reckoning. After that, 2015 onwards, Glasgow have made it to the semi-finals at least every year that we've run, apart from 2020, of course, where COVID came in, and many of those as well reaching a final where you've been defeated. And Poole Pirates, of course, of recent years, 2021 onwards, have been the team who have won everything. So you've met Poole a number of times now, either in the final or the semi-final since they came up, and really now you must be fired up more than ever to finally get one over them.
We definitely are, but Poole, as I said, are there on merit. They've got a very good team, and they have a set up at their own track, which are really extremely difficult to beat. And teams, other teams find the same issues. So we have to go there absolutely ready to attack and try. Hopefully, first of all, try and win the home meeting on Sunday and get some sort of lead. I'm not going to set targets and things because it's silly when you do that. And I think it's unrealistic, especially when you're up against a team as good as Poole. But you look at Scunthorpe's result at Poole; they got a draw, and Edinburgh, who are quite a weak team at the moment, went last week and got 35 points. So we're a far stronger team than that. So we should be looking way above that, and that's the kind of chat we'll have with the chat with the boys. It's not that long ago we were down there, and I think we got 39 points, and we had an awful start to the meeting, and then we actually won the second half of the meeting down there. So if we can start like we finished the last time, we'll be doing well. So that's the plan. But it's going to be extremely difficult. I've got to say, in my mind, we're the underdogs, but that's fine. That suits us. Usually, in years gone by, Glasgow have always been the favourites, and it's strange to be the underdogs, and that sits well with me. They get the kind of guys, they'll thrive in the fact that they're deemed as being the underdogs. So, but it's going to be extremely difficult. Poole are very, very good, but so are we. So let's hope for a great final and great entertainment, great speedway, and some weather that gives us good racing at both tracks.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, on your own track, you have beaten Poole twice this season, and on one occasion, very close it was as well, a last heat decider, 46-44. Yeah. You've had mixed fortunes, as you mentioned, on the road at Poole. It was 53-37, your most recent visit, but prior to that BSN Series final, it was a tough night that night, wasn't it? But you've got experience in the side in terms of Chris Harris, Benjamin Basso, riders, ex-Poole championship winning riders.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's something that we look at and we think we must put us in with a chance. Ben, I think Ben missed the meeting at Poole the last time, so that will help us as well. So we're just super excited to be in the final, to be honest. And I'm still getting over Tuesday night. It was such an emotional roller coaster of a night. The boys we've had a good chat with the team, and they're all getting ready for the final. And they know the magnitude of the task ahead if we're actually going to lift the trophy, and that's the ultimate dream. And you just said we've been very close in previous years. We've had extremely bad luck in one of the semi-finals and one of the finals as well that we lost. So we got beaten last time by Poole fair and square. I mean, there was no argument. Poole were the better team. So we just have to try and get that final step, Ian, and get to our hands on the trophy. I think it'd be good for Speedway, for someone else to win it rather than Poole, who've won a lot. They've won a lot because they've got a brilliant team and a great setup. I'm not criticising them in any way, shape or form. They're the ones all to aim for. So that's what we're going to try and do come Sunday.
Vadim Tarasenko has been a revelation. People have loved seeing him ride for Glasgow. He's sort of doing the same sort of job as, well, obviously his uncle Artem has done for various teams. Emil as well. He's sort of becoming one of these box office riders, and people are interested to see how he's going to get on at Poole. Have you had any conversations, or have the guys been sort of talking him through what to expect when you head down there?
We've had a quick chat about it. He's looked at some footage of races at Poole. I don't think it'll faze him too much. To be honest, I think he's a class act. And I think the track, the way Poole normally have the track, will suit Vadim perfectly. I don't think he'll have any issues with it at all. He's a very classy rider, and he's great to work with. He's great with the other lads as well. He's bonded into the team very quickly, which was a surprise to me, how quickly he did bond in with the rest of the team. So we'll have a chat. As I say, we're just going to take it one step at a time, as the old football adage goes. And we'll look at Sunday first, and we'll see how we go on Sunday. And if we can get to win the meeting, that's the first point. And then if we do win the whole meeting on Sunday, what we can achieve to go to Poole. But even then, I think you could have a big lead on the first leg and still lose heavily at Poole. So there's no way we're having a plan of certain points limits and where we need to be. We're just going to go and race our bikes, give it 100% like we always do, and I hope this time we can come out on top. It's going to be extremely difficult, but we've got a chance. I'm confident with the guys we have that we can give Poole a real run for the money.
Just a moment appreciation for Lee Complin. Obviously, you've got a big, strong spine to the team with Bomber and Basso and Tarasenko and all the rest. But Lee Complin has come into the side, and he's been a revelation on the track. But the fans are really loving him as well, aren't they? And he's really, he loves coming round doing those donuts after he's had a good meeting and everything. And he's really sort of been taken to the hearts of the fans, hasn't he, at Ashfield?
He has. Again, Lee's Lee's a great guy to have in your team because he makes everyone laugh and keeps everyone happy, and that makes my job a lot easier because that's part of my job as well, to keep everyone happy. Lee helps me with that. But what he does, he's a very, very good speedway rider, and if he just believed in himself a little bit more in the last few meetings, he's been outstanding. He was brilliant at Redcar away last week as well. So he's ending the season the way we hoped he started the season, to be perfectly fair. But as he said to me the other night, well, if I give you the big performances when it really matters, then that's what counts, and it does. But he could be a real help for us with against Poole. He'll need to be on his best because Poole has strong reserves as well. Very, very strong reserves. So Lee will need to be at his best, and hopefully Ace can provide a bit of backup as well and score some points. But no, Lee's great to work with. And the other night, all the boys pulled hard. I need to mention, we got all the plaudits quite deservedly so. But I need to mention Tom Brennan as well. Tom was outstanding the other night. Really pulled some big wins out the hat when we really needed it as well. And I don't think Tom gets enough praise for what he did on Tuesday. Hopefully his form continues in the two-legged final.
Yeah, he was terrific, as you say, and really, goes about his business quietly. But on the pitch, he burst through, and on the track, he burst through, and he was pulling away with fantastic speed as well, and which was great. One question as well, Klaus Wissing, what's the situation there? Because I know he was having an update, wasn't he? Where are we at there?
Yeah. Unfortunately, he's not going to make the final. He's the doctors have told him he can't ride a speedway bike for another 3 or 4 weeks yet. So it's really disappointing for us. I would have been super confident with Klaus in the team. Plus, it's not just the fact that Klaus being in the team can score us more points. It's the fact we have a full 7 riders. When you go with 6 riders, it's difficult. You're making changes. Other riders have to take extra rides, and it's putting more pressure on them and the machinery. And if you happen to get another injury, it can be quite an issue. So it's not ideal. It's never something that if we could use a guest, would use a guest, but we're not allowed to use a guest because Klaus is only 4th in the averages. It has to be a top 3. If Klaus was in the top 3, we would definitely have a guest booked rather and go with a full 7 riders. It's not, as I say, it's not ideal to go 6, but that's the rules, and we just have to play by the rules and get on with it and man up and just the boys know the task ahead, and we've had a couple of chats so far since Tuesday, and we'll have more conversation before Sunday, I'm sure.
Okay, well look, it's Sunday then at Ashfield, 6 o'clock the start time.
6 o'clock, come along everyone. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and great evening.
It's going to be good. Hopefully yes, and hopefully we can give Poole a run for the money this year and provide a final that the fans, the last few meetings in Speedway on TV have been tremendous. Let's hope that continues in the final. That's what a final should be. It should be the best teams racing in it. I think Oxford were as good as Poole and Glasgow, and there was nothing to choose between the top 3 in my opinion this year. So well done to Oxford for getting this far as well, and they provided us with a huge test. Which we ultimately came through. And if we can come through Poole, we'll be deserved champions. If Poole beat us, again they'll be deserved league champions. So let's see what happens come the final.
Okay, well, scores start all 0 on Sunday, 6 o'clock. Get yourself down to Ashfield and be there in person, of course.
Support the Tigers, absolutely.
All right, look, thanks a lot, Cami. Pleasure as always,
Thank
and good luck for Sunday.
Thank you very much.
Cami Brown, then, team manager of the Glasgow Tigers. Let's speak to the opposite number then, and a legend of British Speedway, of course, as well, both as a rider but as a team manager since 1999 at the helm of the Poole Pirates. In that time, he's won 29 trophies so far, and there's still more to be won this season for the Poole Pirates. And Neil Middleditch, welcome. Thanks for joining us. And Middlo, well, really, at this stage of the season, it's sort of that classic contest that's sort of come to be either in the semi-finals or the finals, where the Pirates face the Glasgow Tigers, and a rivalry restored, really, that's been developing over the years.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. I mean, obviously, Glasgow managed to dispose of Oxford, which, is well, I don't know if it did us a favour or not, to be fair, but no, it's going to be a tough final. I mean, Glasgow are there for a reason. They've really built a good team. They've made a few changes and have certainly got a very, very competitive team.
It is a different Glasgow side to the one you will have faced, of course, earlier in the season, and of course that you faced in the finals before. Is this a stronger Glasgow side maybe than you've faced until now?
Yes, I think so. I think they've got probably a bit more strength in depth than before. So, and then they put Oxford to the sword last week. So, we're expecting a really tough match on Sunday.
As far as the silverware is concerned, I think, am I right in saying you're on 29 trophies in your career now?
Yeah.
And so that's not going to be lost on anybody. You're always going to be there for a cup being presented, but the second leg will be at Wimborne Road, and surely you must be looking to make it a round number.
Yeah, it'd be nice. It would be nice. Yes, to say it's I don't count. People tell me what I've won and everything, and I'm obviously very proud of that record. But I don't sort of think, I need another one. Every final, every trophy is something that the Pirates, and the management, riders, we all go in to win. There's no prizes for second place.
Looking at the way this season has gone for you, once again, with just the one exception, really, apart from the change at the start of the season, you've managed to retain the most part of your 1 to 7. Adam Roynan obviously getting injured, but apart from that, you've managed to hold on to the lads since day one, really.
Yeah, that's right. It's nice to have that sort of continuity throughout the season. It's nice to walk into the pits and you get the same riders week in, week out, and you build up that rapport as a manager with the riders. And I think that's very important for the team spirit. And also the riders together, they know each other, they ride together, they know the way each rider performs on the track. And I think that's a huge bonus for us.
Obviously, with success, you'll start to look towards next season fairly soon, if not already. And obviously, you're going to have to wait and see what the AGM says. But usually, you find that sides do have sort of change forced upon them, don't they? The way that Speedway tends to work, though. So is that something you're maybe aware of now?
Yeah, very aware of it. I mean, I think it's a shame. It's funny, I was having a chat with Peter Schrock today. We were talking about the points limits and things like that. And I think it's a shame that it's one of the very few sports where you get penalised for being successful, isn't it? We started season with the team hoping they'll improve, which on the whole most of them have. And then if you get to the end of the season and you've had a successful season, and all of a sudden you have to sort of break the team up, and it's not great for the riders, sponsors. It's a difficult one, isn't it? But I mean, obviously, I know they want to try and get everything back onto a level playing field at the start of the season. But I just think it seems a shame that you get penalised for being successful.
And you have had this success, and we've talked about the titles you've won. What would you say is the magic formula? Is the one? I mean, you must do something because you've got all these titles over the time since you've been the manager of the Poole Pirates. Obviously, you've had great support from the club, but what is the X factor? Do you know?
No, I mean, you can't really put your. I think we Matt and Dan, they're very astute at signing riders. I think the key is to find a rider at the start of the season, who you feel has got potential, who's going to increase his average. But I think I say it time and time again. I think having good reserves is very, very a big key factor in winning matches, because I always say to sort of whether it's Joe or Adam or Carl or Anders, whoever reserve at any particular time, I say your job is to beat your opposite number. If they beat their opposite number, that's job done. Anything after that is a bonus, and I think that that's the key, is just to have it. Strengths are out. I mean, that's the key this year. I think we've had everybody, we've moved the reserves around, numerous times due to averages, but they've gone to reserve and they've produced the goods. That's a huge factor.
And a team effort as well from the management point of view. Obviously, Gary Havelock's played a big role in those northern trips as well. What will be the plan? Because obviously people will know now that, thoughts with Gary, because he's got some family problems there, and obviously lost his mum reasonably not so long ago. So will Gary be in charge of the side? Will you be making the trip up to Glasgow on Sunday? What's the management?
I will be making the trip on Sunday, but obviously Javi will be there with me, and as you say, it's a difficult time for him. Loss of his mum, which is obviously very, very sad. But his enthusiasm for the Pirates is like mine. I mean, we keep in contact, and we have different ways of team managing, if you like. I have my way, he has his way. Both all the boys sort of warm to the both the way we both do our team managing, and I think that's good. And so Gary is very knowledgeable. He's probably more on point with, bike setups, things like this than I am. Obviously, having not ridden for a number of years, but, at the end of the day, it's all about people management. It's getting the best that you can from your riders. I mean, it's difficult, when a rider's had a bad ride, he doesn't need to be told he's had a bad ride. He knows he has a bad ride. It's, mine and Gary's job as managers to go up to them and try and pick them up and move on to the next race.
Yeah, absolutely, and you can't change what's already happened, can you? But it's keeping the heads high, and I've certainly seen Gary doing that. Where I think it was Anders Rowe, he made maybe a wrong call in a race. I think it was actually the under-21s when they're choosing gate positions, and Gary was like, "Well, you're just going to have to shake it off and move on," and that's all you can do, isn't it? And then nobody goes out to do a bad job, but obviously somebody is going to have to lose a speedway race. Yeah. That's the way they go.
Yeah,
isn't
that's
it?
right. And as you say, I always sort of walk up to them after the race and, say, you or the bike, and, if their head's down, and I say, look, move on. That's it. It's done. You can't change what's happened. You've just got to look, put that one behind you and move on to the next race and make amends for that one.
Busy time then, of course. The season's wrapping up. You've got the grand final now, home and away with Glasgow, and then you'll be still eagerly waiting to see whether you're going to be facing Redcar or Scunthorpe in the cup final as well now.
Yeah, that's right. So as I say, there's plenty of silverware on the line. It would be nice to get the treble again this year. I mean, it's tough. I mean, we just got to keep all the riders safe and just put our best foot forward, really. I mean, I think we can only do what we can do, and the boys are all fired up for it. We've got a nice little WhatsApp group going, and everybody is really fired up for the final. And we've just got to go and do our job. Sunday, obviously, is the first one. We've got to keep that very close. Obviously, we're going there for the win. I mean, we go to every meeting for the win, but if we can, as long as we can keep it close, and then hopefully seal a deal on Wednesday at Poole. But it's 30 heats of speedway, maybe 31 with a super heat. But we know it's going to be tough. Say Glasgow, they're a good team. They've got some great riders in there, and they're certainly going to be wanting it as much as we do.
Yeah, I think Vadim Tarasenko's watching the Darcy Ward highlights reel, so that's he's getting himself in the groove.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you couldn't watch anybody better, could you? To be fair, but yeah, it'll be Adam's. It'll be his first visit to Wimborne Road, and hopefully, we can capitalise on that, and take a few races to get going. Hopefully, but I mean, he's been an absolute, steal for Glasgow, hasn't he? Coming in on a 5-point average. I don't know how he did it, but they did it, and I'm sure we do the same if we could.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that everybody's got their thoughts on it, but absolutely every team manager would be wishing that maybe they'd got there first potentially. But we'll see. That's Speedway, though, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and as I say, it's nothing that any other team manager promoter wouldn't be doing the same. So there's not a problem with Cami doing that.
No worries. Okay, well, look, may the best team win, and look forward to seeing you home and away, of course, over the next, week or so, and by Wednesday the 11th, it'll all be sorted one way or another, but will it be title number 30? We'll wait and see, but of course it's going to be a fierce clash between two top sides.
Yeah, that's right, it certainly will be. Just hopefully the weather doesn't intervene. That's our main concern.
Neil Middleditch, team manager of the Poole Pirates, and of course those fixtures taking place on Sunday. It's a 6 o'clock start at Glasgow and the return back at Wimborne Road next Wednesday the 11th. Of course, if you can't make it in person, both of those fixtures will be live on BSN, British Speedway Network. Now, in the final parts, we'll speak to Dale Allitt as we prepare to wave goodbye to the East of England arena. The Peterborough Showground has been the venue for Speedway for decades, and the curtain falls on it as a Speedway venue, altogether, in fact, this coming Saturday. We'll look ahead to that meeting and perhaps what lies next for Peterborough as we speak to Dale Allitt next on No Brakes, No Fear.
No Brakes, No Fear, the official British Speedway podcast.
Welcome back. So in this final part, we look ahead to what's hopefully going to be a happy and joyous occasion, but also quite an emotional one as well. And sad for British Speedway, really. There's Peterborough saying goodbye to their home of 53 years in the Farewell to the Showground meeting, which takes place on Saturday. It's a 7 p.m. start, by the way. One of the most iconic venues in the sport in this country, set to close as the site is subject to planning applications for future development. Leaving the Panthers with nowhere to race in 2024, the club have taken the decision to stage a full-scale farewell meeting rather than sign off at their final league match, as was originally the plan. But in order to do some proper justice to it, and I'm sure everybody's going to be thankful for this, an event not to race their last meeting at short notice. Now, over half a century, memories have been made at the venue. It's renowned as one of the UK's very best racetracks. It's seen world champions compete, success and prestige brought to the city. Panthers, of course, top-flight champions in 1999, 2006 and 2021. And riders from that lineup are going to be involved as well, as we're going to hear more of what's planned as we speak now to Dale Allitt, who is Operations Manager at Peterborough. But you're also much more than that, because people will know that you're involved with Kings Lynn as well. So first of all, Dale, just to explain how you're divided up at this moment in time, because you've got this meeting on, Peterborough is going to be closing down, and what the future maybe has in store for you as well.
Many pieces actually. I'm promoted at Kings Lynn, obviously former team manager up until illness at the end of 2019. So 2018 was my last team manager at Kings Lynn, and took on a different role, which was basically overseeing things at Kings Lynn and helping out a little bit with Peterborough, because Buster had purchased that in 2019. Unfortunately, Colin Pratt then became ill, and so I was asked to do more and more there, and basically run the background, liaise with the owners of the site, and try and move forward with all the day-to-day running of a speedway club, including building the team in 2021, because after the COVID issue. Previous to that, I was also team manager along with Carl Johnson in 2015 and 2016 at the Panthers.
So yeah, you've covered a lot of ground over those years, and so it must feel fairly personal now that we've got to this situation with Peterborough. Of course, you've sort of seen the iceberg coming for a long time, of course, but ultimately now time's been called on Speedway at the Showground, and must really feel like the reality's finally here, and this is finally really it.
Yeah, I mean, we knew there was problems last year, and I had many meetings with AEPG to see if we could get one more season at the Showground, which ultimately we did agree that September last year. I mean, it's been incredibly difficult this year actually to run out of the Showground, because at the end of June we were the only tenant there. All the major shows had been stopped because they put everyone on 12 months notice the previous year. So it has just been us at the Showground, which has not been easy. And then we've still tried to fight the corner to see if there's a future at the Showground, and unfortunately that is earmarked for development. But it's one of those things. I think we've covered virtually every angle. I know I've had so many meetings this year to see if there's any way we can run, but they don't want, which is their prerogative, I understand. They don't want a sitting tenant till the end of October, potentially next year, when if they're trying to get planning on the site, unfortunately.
And obviously people are, putting up petitions and things like this, but, really you have covered all of this stuff before. You've had all the meetings with all the people that you can possibly do. There is no way forward. Is there a way forward for Peterborough somewhere else in time, or for the team somewhere else?
I would like to think so. You look at several success stories over the last, 10 or so years, with Leicester coming back after a long break, more recently Oxford, even Redcar when Middlesbrough closed. I mean, I haven't got a crystal ball. Nobody knows how it's going to work with the planning application, whether that's going to be accepted. It's only being put in as outline planning, which is why we've had nothing to be able to even go back with up until beginning of September. And I'm aware of many objections. And I'm sure, Peterborough's got fantastic supporters, and they've got a great supporters club, which do so much for the club and the volunteers. And I've always said that's a heartbeat of the club. Without those people, there wouldn't be a Peterborough Panthers anyway. And if that maintains the desire to carry on and find a place, or, like I say, who knows what's going to happen with the Showground going forward. I just know that we've been told there's no chance of running in 2024, and we've unfortunately and sadly had to accept that.
So it sounds, reading between the lines there then, that maybe there is a slim chance that this planning application gets thrown out. The stadium is still there, and so the possibly, it's a never say never situation potentially there then.
Yeah, I mean it's two areas to this. Obviously, from all our point of view, it's for the Speedway. But to put it in perspective, the East of England Showground's a massive site, and holds some huge shows over the years, like Truckfest and Motorcycle News and all that type of thing, and all that's gone already, and went up until June. So it's not just the Speedway; it's every single thing that's been cleared off the site, basically. So there'd have to be quite a major change, but never say never. And the farewell meeting initially was going to be the last Kings Lynn fixture, ironically. But because on the Monday before the Kings Lynn fixture, we were told that we had to run that on the Thursday. And I just felt at that point in time, there's so many teams that have shut down over the years where, as Speedway fans, people have gone to a meeting and they've come away that night not thinking anything, and then you read it or it's announced that club has closed down. We've seen it with Newcastle and Eastbourne and, so many others, Swindon's another one. And I didn't want that to be the case for the fans. I pushed hard with Keith to say, look, I know this is a huge amount of work in 2 or 3 weeks. You'd normally do it in 2 or 3 months. But let's just have one more night so people can actually say goodbye to the Speedway there. And certainly at the moment anyway. And I thought that was important for, so many people associated with the club.
And you've put a decent lineup together as well. It's not just a bunch of riders that happen to be available. These are all, well-known riders, legends of Peterborough as well. And most recently, at the time of recording this, you've announced Scott Nicholls. He's going to be coming back. You've got Niels Christian Everson, Chris Harris. So many members of that title-winning side of 2021, but a lot of other riders as well who've enjoyed many laps around the showground over the years.
Yeah, I've tried to do it as much as I can with riders that have had some association with Peterborough. It's not always possible because it's quite frightening when you go back, even the last 4 or 5 years, how many riders like Ulrich Ossegaard, Emil Grondel, Lewis Blackbird that have retired. In that period of time. But, there's riders as well. Lewis Kerr, who's there, that guested for the Panthers in 2021 in the playoff semi-final. And has obviously got a huge other association with Peterborough. But, it's all positive now. And I think it'll be a fair, even field and hopefully produce some great racing.
Okay, have you got the full lineup there for us that you can run through just so we
get
the full list as it is?
Yeah, we've got Chris Harris, obviously captain of the team at the moment, Simon Lambert, who's also been a previous captain, Ben Cook, who's ridden for this year, Stevie Worrell, obviously everybody knows about him at Cardiff this year, Danny King, who started his career at Peterborough, Paul Stark, who rode for the Panthers in 2018, Richard Lawson, who actually rode for the Panthers in, I think, 2011, but has done many guest appearances, Jordan Jenkins, who's been the rising star the last couple of years, Lewis Kerr, who we just mentioned, Michael Palmtoft, who has ridden for Peterborough on several spells, Ryan Douglas, who's again guested and always been very good there and good entertainment, Leon Flint, former under-19, under-21 champion, Niels Christian Everson, Tom Brennan, who is really on the rise and with Team GB and everything else, Scott Nicholls, who was the captain in 21, and Connor Mountain is the final rider that's been announced today. So I think it's, like I say, it's a very balanced field, and it should produce some great racing, which is what it's all about on the night.
Yeah, and that is a strong lineup, a good lineup there, entertaining lineup, so people can get down there and see them in action. And these kind of meetings always have a few quirks, I'm sure, as well, and a bit of fun and games going on too. And you've also got to sort of call the final race at the venue quite fitting. You've got Edwin Overland, who is, for people who don't know, the legendary announcer of many years around those parts. He was also he's also been an announcer at Kings Lynn, hasn't he, as well, and somebody that the two clubs have got a great relationship with. And unfortunately, he's had to stand down from his race night duties with ill health, hasn't he? But he's going to be back on the mic for that final heat at the showground as well, which is pretty fitting.
Yeah, I reached out to Edwin, and obviously we know he's got a few problems, but it's great news, and I think it's quite fitting that he's agreed to do the final race. He is the voice of certainly Peterborough and Kings Lynn Speedway, and I think everybody will know, seeing as he's one of those people, a bit like Nigel Pearson really was. As soon as they come on the microphone, you know exactly who they are. So that will be good. And as you said, we've got a few quirks going on. We've got kids' face painters there, so they can look at that. Something for the kids. We've got a kids' running race at the interval with some prizes. We've got a wheelie competition with some of the riders, where we're getting some of the crowd to score that at the interval, and obviously a big final with the opportunity at the end of that for the public to have one more lap around the track, which will be emotional, I'm sure. But like I say, to me, it's all about the opportunity to give the place a proper farewell.
Okay, that's good. So the crowd can get on the track afterwards and have a walk round one final time. That's nice, isn't it? Yeah. Well, obviously it's not nice because you'd rather have Speedway back there next season, I'm sure. But it's a good opportunity for the fans there to say their goodbyes and get some photos and what have you. So it's a 7:00 tapes up Saturday night at Peterborough. What time the gates open and any other details people might need?
Gates open at 5:00. So. With all these meetings, it's always opening nights and farewell nights, unfortunately, that tend to attract big crowds. So gates open at 5, so we'd say, get there as early as you can. The weather looks fantastic, touch wood. It's forecast 23 degrees Saturday afternoon, which is incredible after recent weather.
I know.
But yeah, so, there's lots going on, and there's a lot going on for the family and stuff like that. So, hopefully it's going to be, when I say a good night, a good night in the right way, that it's remembered the right way and people have had that opportunity to go and see that last meeting.
Okay, so be down there. Obviously, we don't want to see the end of stadiums, but that's obviously what's happening. And if you can be down there and enjoy a great evening of entertainment, 7:00 the start time at the East of England Arena for Peterborough's farewell. And what for you then for next season? Obviously, times sort of move on a little bit now. And does the Peterborough team sort of remain together in terms of the backroom staff, and is there a search then therefore going on to try and bring Speedway back to the area?
Yeah, I mean, it's been well known with Keith's position that he's wanted to take more of a back seat. This year hasn't really worked out that way for various reasons, but he's committed to be of help to anybody that wants to go forward if they can find, or the council provide help with some future land. As far as the backroom stuff, there is another club, which is, now's not the time to go through to that because the focus is all about Peterborough. But as you say, things go on, and I'm sure that as many people as want to be involved going forward, we will try and do that because it's a great team of people there. Okay, well, look, thanks very much, and I guess watch this space for what will happen next. But thanks, and have a good evening on Saturday night. Thank you. Operations Manager at Peterborough Speedway, Dale Allitt, on No Brakes, No Fear. And that fixture then, once again, farewell to the showground at Peterborough, Saturday night, 7th of October, 7 p.m. So that is coming down the pipe very soon indeed. Looking at the fixtures for the week ahead then, and
I'm guessing that by the time you listen to this, maybe the weekend might have passed, but we'll run through the Saturday ones anyway. It's at Workington versus the Kent Royals, final league match in the National Development League for the Workington Comets, and that's a 3 o'clock start time. And then that meeting we've just been talking about, Saturday night, farewell to the Showground at Peterborough, 7 o'clock the start time. Sunday, National Development League Knockout Cup final gets underway. It's the first leg of that. Mildenhall Fen Tigers versus the Leicester Lion Cubs. That's Sunday at 4 o'clock at West Row. And also on Sunday, the big one in the Cab Direct Championship. As we talked about earlier, it's the first leg at Ashfield as the Glasgow Tigers face the Poole Pirates at 6 p.m. And then there is no Speedway scheduled, at least in British Speedway, until Wednesday. And that's part 2 of the Cab Direct Championship Grand Final, second leg. It really is a back-to-back final, first leg and second leg, just with a few days in between. There's absolutely nothing in the meantime. Poole Pirates versus the Glasgow Tigers, and that gets underway at Wimborne Road, 7:30 for that. And both legs of that fixture will be live on BSN as well. Also on the Wednesday night, if you're in Birmingham or the West Midlands, the Birmingham Brummies are in action against a Cradley Heathens select, the Alan Graham Memorial, 7:30 at Perry Bar for that one, and then after that it's a void really all the way until Saturday, October 14th, when the Leicester Lion Cubs face the Mildenhall Fen Tigers in the second leg of the NDL Knockout Cup, and then next Sunday, the 15th of October, just get it on your radar in case you fancy it. National Development League Riders Championship is back. This is a rescheduled event. It's at Workington again, of course, previously rained off, but back in the calendar for Sunday, October 15th, 2 p.m. the start time for the National Development League Riders Championship. And I would probably suspect that it might actually have a stronger lineup this time than it was due to have the previous running. Other dates for your diary, just to get them in there, because there's not much Speedway left, and you want to get your fill of methanol action, of course, don't you? Before everything draws to a close, the Olympique Individual at Wolverhampton is going to be at Monmore, 7:30 p.m. for that one. Wednesday, October 18th. Oxford Chargers versus the Leicester Lion Cubs in the National Development League, first leg of the grand final there. Always a big date in the diary. This is going to be great. The Teesside Silver Helmet at Redcar, which is a fantastic meeting. And there will be some big names in that one, I understand, as well. 7:30 the start time. Friday, October 20th. That's going to be a Bobby Dazzler. And they also have prizes for the riders for best celebration and stuff like that. It's a good evening out. Louis Kerr has won it back-to-back the last couple of years, actually, so I suspect he might well be involved, but they'll be releasing the lineup for that soon. But Friday, October 20th, Saturday, October 21st, Leicester Lion Cubs versus the Oxford Chargers in the second leg of the National Development League Grand Final. Monday, October 23rd, it's farewell to Monmore at Wolverhampton. The Wheel Meet Again Trophy. Don't miss that one. And that is the last fixture in British Speedway in 2023. It'll all be wrapped up on October 23rd, the farewell to Monmore. That will be a lot, both for Monmore and for British Speedway this year. But we'll have plenty of things to review and look back on. We'll not be quite done yet with the podcast. We'll keep going till the end of the month, I reckon. So we'll see you next week. I'm not sure exactly what date it'll arrive. It may well arrive after the Championship Grand Final, because, to be honest, between now and then, there's not a right lot to talk about until that's out of the way on Wednesday. So it might be Thursday or Friday, and we'll bring you another episode, and we'll see you there. Have a great week in Speedway, and hey, it's all going to be done before you know it, isn't it? We'll catch you next time on No Brakes, No Fear. Thanks for listening.
No Brakes, No Fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
Did you miss your deadline to renew your Medicaid coverage? You can still send your completed annual review form to Healthy Connections Medicaid. You may be assigned to another health plan, but you can ask to come back to First Choice within 60 days of renewed Medicaid eligibility. It's your family. It's your choice. First Choice is the right choice. Renew and choose us. Visit selecthealthofsc.com/renew to learn more.